Okay, I hope you can hear me. I've decided to not do the usual marquee because I'm really excited about what we're developing here at Pecan Valley Studio. Um, what you're seeing is you're seeing an AI in control of one of my pipelines. I've been developing this for a couple of weeks now, and it's putting it through a bunch of tests. I've created I've been working on a series of pipelines to allow me to create the files necessary to use on the new Marauders mill when it finishes being, built. And as you can see, we're we're just going through the steps, going through the motions here. It's not making things very big, but that's okay. They don't have to be big. I've told the AI to be artful, start playing around with what it can do. I want to see what it can do, and uh, this app is really cool. It has alignment, copy. It can do curved text, straight text. It can scale text in different ways based on how you have positioned your fingers on the. Oh, look at that! You're seeing text being stroked. That's a common thing uh, in the text art world is being able to stroke text. You just saw it align curved text onto some target text. It has the ability to change radius without changing font spacing, or with changing font spacing, or with changing the size of the font. You can see it playing around with different ways of working with radial arched text. And I've literally told it to go through all the possible combinations. So it could actually be here for quite a while testing. Um, it is smart enough to check the log files to see what it's doing. I'm using step logging, so it sees everything. So the AI actually knows what's happening. Now I've told it to. I literally said, "Let's see your internal artist do some magical things," and so now we're waiting for the AI to create its next test. I'm not showing you the code window on purpose. I, I don't need to make it easy for people who would want to take these ideas from me. Um, it won't be too long before this kind of cutting edge technique is used by everybody. In 2026, you're going to see AI enabled applications everywhere. It will become the standard. But I've decided that I want to, for the reasons of what I'm doing here in the home workshop, I want these capabilities for me. Um, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing at work. I'm doing work for my employer whenever possible. I'm helping them, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But when I'm at home, I'm working on my projects. Look at this thing. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let me change the scaling so it's a little easier for you to see it. It's totally playing around with it. The AI is doing all this. I'm not doing any of this. Wow, what was that? I'm not exactly sure what the AI is doing. Okay, I'm watching. It thinks it's done. Now use all the tools available to you, and any font of your choice. Use them to create ASCII art, the likes of which no human has ever seen. Let the show last for at least 3 minutes. It does have a timer in there that it's keeping track of things while it's working. I've got it doing a 3 second dwell after every change that it makes. Let's see what it does. And it made a comment down there on one of the arcs that says never before possible. And as far as I know, what you're seeing here right now is the first time in history that this has ever been done. I'm sure that there are other people playing around with stuff, and I could be completely wrong in that statement. Um, I'm just not out there in the social media world checking out what other people are doing. This is certainly the first time I've ever heard or even seen of AI being in control of a text geometry pipeline, at least at this level. And I'm sure that as more people watch this video, these capabilities will start popping up everywhere in every app you can think of. Now, one of the reasons why I think you're not going to see this a lot is because in 2026, companies have to figure out what that AI bill is going to actually cost. The more people use AI, the more money they get charged. And in fact, there can be caps that just stop. So imagine a company building an AI enabled application and their user base, their customer base, I don't like the name user, but their customer base um, uses so much of the AI capability that the AI provider simply throttles that or even stops it. And so now the company that sold you the application now has a faulty application in your hands. And then what happens when the AI has used so much of the application of the compute that the AI company has decided to just shut it down? What if somebody doesn't pay their bill? You know, some vendor doesn't pay their AI bill, then your app stops working, right? So that's a problem. You're watching the AI create art. Yeah, that's not me. So ultimately, the destination of all this would be to create STL files. And I don't know if I can get to the export to STL fast enough while it's doing this, because it's doing a lot of work and it's doing it quickly. But maybe I might be able to do an export to STL in one of these. That it's not letting me generate the STL file right now. But in an earlier version of this app, I could export to an STL file. And then why is that important? Because in exporting to an STL file, it's possible for me to import that into a CAD environment where I can then get it converted over to cut on the 3D print, either print on a 3D printer or cut in on the CNC router, that kind of thing. STL files are quite important. Okay, so my STL generation is still failing. And I want to see what else can it do. Create massively complex images. For example, use your new ASCII art capability to make very complex images of very complex and detailed images of common pets. So let's see if the AI can use this capability to create advanced AI controlled ASCII art to make complex and detailed images of common pets. Also, the AI has the ability to name all these labels. Once it knows how to work with the workflow, it can take over. And once it knows the rules, it can work with it. But it's very complicated. I gotta tell you, it is very complicated. I've been on a lot of caffeine, and I'm sure my employer doesn't like this, but I pushed a lot of hours after work in order to get to this point. Even at work, I work on multiple projects at the same time, which is fine. I love it. I've actually been working on multiple projects at the same time here. And I don't normally talk about my work, and I'll just leave it at that. Um, I love what I do. In fact, I feel like I'm in my early 20s again because of AI. So at home, I work on um, creating the tools necessary to allow the next chapter of my life for when the day comes when I do retire. I have a lot of advanced hobbies available to me. Some of those hobbies could include something as simple as a garden. This last spring, we started a vegetable garden. It's our first time together as husband and wife doing a vegetable garden. And yes, AI has been a huge part of that. I'm not going to tell you all the projects I'm working on there, but there's a lot of learning going on. I think maybe for about, several years, I've been doing a lot of training. This is going back, 5, maybe 6 years I've been training. And it keeps the mind sharp. I don't ever want to become dull. Oh my gosh, did you see what it created? What did it create there? It looked like it created a dog. That's a tabby cat. I'm gonna stop the AI workflow, and I'm gonna ask it, please allow us to turn off the display of the bounding boxes. They are to be on by default. But let yourself So there's a lot of things I can configure via AI, and I'm going to have it uh, turn off the bounding boxes before it does its art display. Okay, let's wait a few minutes here. It's doing some work. It's rebuilding the art display to disable the bounding boxes. That's a feature we have. You don't have to always have the bounding boxes on display. I like the bounding boxes like this when I'm developing. Um, and it satisfies the programmer in me to see where my limits are. but in this particular app, they're not necessary. You can toggle them. And we're just waiting for the AI to finish writing up the new art script.
Group or not is now say
And that's the AI restarting the app. When you go back and look at the screen, you'll notice there's another app in development. That's my. Oh, I'm also working on another AI controlled workflow. I'm working on another AI controlled workflow that allows the creation of images for my CNC router. I've got a little time put into trying to understand how all this works, and I want to be able to produce my own artwork. This all got started when a friend took the second piece of wood that I ever manufactured off of a CNC router over to a local gift shop. And the gift shop inquired as to whether or not I had some things that I'd like to sell in their shop. And I had never considered that before. So I spent a couple of weeks looking around at the market and saw how flooded it was, and then realized that I have a vision on art that is um, very Americana style, the kind of stuff that you might see in a museum. That appeals to me. Um, Scenes, I love scenes, and I came up with a workflow that allowed me to produce scenes and uh, work with a kind of AI controlled compository that allows me to create things that appeal to me. I'm not really doing this for anybody else. I'm just doing this for me. But it's a way that I can express my art. And over at the W5AIR Facebook page, you can see some of that art being generated. Um, these are images that are, in my head that are finally starting to come out, and I've never really had the ability nor the artistic ability to express what was in my head. And AI has given me the opportunity to do that now. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Run the art display. I'm telling the AI to run the art display now. Look at that. It's even talking to us saying clean art, no bounding boxes. The AI is actually responding through the artwork. The AI just said, let me run the epic ASCII art show with clean visuals, no bounding boxes. So the AI has decided not to use bounding boxes this time. It looks like it has some alignment issues. I can see those straightforward. But remember, this is all font, and the font is not perfectly centered. We've had some issues with that. Absolutely amazing that the AI can do this. Everything you see is a character from a font. It's not producing actual art lines. Use the available space to show entire complex 2.5D cityscapes. So now we're waiting for it to build a new art script. I suppose that might be what I call it going forward, as an art script. Like I was saying earlier, the Facebook page, W5AIR Facebook page, shows a lot of what I'm working on. I gotta tell you, going from an say a photograph to something you can cut on a CNC router into wood is extremely difficult to do. There is a lot of math going on in there, and the concepts sound easy, but it is not. The AI has responded. It said, "Oh yes, let me create massive, complex 2.5D cityscapes using every pixel of your canvas." I have no idea what's going to happen. The CPU could spike. The laptop could crash. We have no idea what's about to happen. Like, this has never been done before. So this is not a product that I'm going to sell. This is just something I want for me. But I got to tell you, this is fun. I have a hunch that by the end of the year, maybe even a lot sooner, maybe in the first quarter, you'll hear companies talking about embedding AI into their applications. But they got to get the numbers right. So the way they'll go about doing that is they'll test on very small groups. They'll probably create some version of their applications that they test with a few people, and just work out the bugs. But the technical part is not what's important. Anybody can do a minimum viable product. What they've got to figure out is what are going to be the costs. How are they going to manage the cost of it, and is it profitable? And if it's not profitable, if you're not willing to pay what it actually is going to cost, then they're not going to do it. Here's the thing: in order for you to have AI in a product, they have to raise the cost. It's That's just a fact. So if you have ABC product, and ABC product embeds AI, you have to pay for that AI. So a new form of pricing is going to happen because of it. So I think the AI is struggling with producing the art script. Let me increase the canvas size and see if the AI can figure that out. The AI does have the ability to detect canvas size, but I don't see it doing it. Okay, let me show the AI what it created. Let's see if it can adjust. This is where I train the AI. I'm showing it a picture of what it did, and I'm letting it know that that was a bad display. One of the many fonts that you have on your computer, the computer does have some built-in uh, line art from back in the old days. It was a kind of Unicode artwork that was used for bulletin board systems. Well, that's been sticking around. That never went away. It's just buried in one of the Microsoft font libraries. Let me force that. We're training. Yep, you're seeing it live. Training, I'm not going to make you go through all the training. Training can last for days, just days, even longer. In fact, even to help me with what I've been doing, I've had to train the AI to do it. So most of you are used to talking with AI. You ask a question and get a magic answer. Um, some people, however, are way past that to the point where they're training AIs to perform various tasks. Uh, and it takes a while. It really does. And after a while, the AI starts to feel a lot more intuitive because you've been training it on how to respond to you. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work well for somebody else who uses your approach. Everybody's different. Okay, it's getting better. I'm going to give it a reference image. If it can't come up with it on its own, maybe it can copy an image. Better yet, let me use one of my other pipelines. It still is coming up with pretty interesting artwork. I'm sure that some of you will grab these screenshots and then take it straight away and start making prints. I would not be surprised. This is some pretty interesting stuff. It's very interesting artwork. So I've got a program that creates images for me, and here I'll show it to you. Let me save the image. I've been working on both the logic and both logic and um, code for creating various types of images. Here's an early one that I did long time ago in internet time, right? So that's what, a few weeks ago. So I was creating images like this before I knew anything about CNC image creation, and this is the style of art that's in my mind. Okay, and you'll start to see some of my art flowing. Things like this. This is the kind of stuff I think about. I actually see things like this when I close my eyes. Here's a here's another example of my artwork. So this is the old Irish storyteller, is what I call this one. This one's dedicated to my wife. Um, that when she's very old, that she can look into a mirror and see her young self. This is how we all see ourselves. As we get older, we don't see ourselves as these old, frail things, overweight, medical issues, skin's not as healthy as it was in our youth. We That's just not who we are physically. But when we look in a mirror, we don't see that person. We don't feel that way. We still feel like we're in our early 20s. But let me grab the artwork that we're here to look at, which is this one, right? So I'm going to copy that. Here is a sample of the NYC skyline. So we'll see if the AI can try to simulate this image, and just curious to see how well or not it can do with that. Yeah, you're watching me control this interface like it was any other application on a computer. I have no idea what the AI is going to do here. It's working on it. I'm watching it build the file. All right, so it's possible that yeah, he's going to have a long way to go. I'm not going to waste your time with it, but no, it was really fun showing you what we're up to here in the workshop. I don't know if it saved any of these configurations. It didn't. It didn't save any of the configurations. Tell you what, let me have it put on another art display. Please put on a massive art display of text only in various ways that one would have 4 signs, show no less than 30 signs, use the layout, use the workspace layout feature for each one. Now, I don't know if the workspace layout feature is going to work because I've never tried it. It could break. We'll see what it does. I'm going to have it create an art display that shows the way fonts would display on people's signs. So let's just watch what it does. It'll pick different fonts, different sizes. I hope maybe different colors. It has the ability to. Yep, I'm watching it create the art display. It'll create different colors. And once I finish all of this, I'll merge them all these features into one workspace. But I've got multiple workspaces set up to where I can work on individual features. I think probably the text geometry pipeline is fun. No, I gotta be honest with the AI. Give me a moment. I need to tell it to show one. Please show only one sign at a time. It did exactly what I told it to do, only it tried to show all the signs at the same time. Do not be simple. Go over the top. Advanced. Avant. Garde. Too classical. Too Western. To everything in between. Please do not hold back. I'm giving it more instructions. Oh, I gotta stop it again. All signs need to have some form of background shape appropriate to that sign. Use your fonts to create those background shapes. If I see Arial one more time, I am going to puke. Uber signs are way too basic. They need to be exactly as a customer would request for their application. What I am seeing now is as if a child made it. Be a professional. Sign consultant. With art and production design experience. So this isn't a problem of the AI. This is a problem of the guy who's telling the AI what to do. So it looks like I've got to work on another workflow for it to be at the level of art skill that I want it to be, and that's it's actually kind of easy, but it's going to take some research on my part to build that workflow. It just told me it was being lazy. Oh my gosh, it's creating some different stuff now. I can see what it's creating in the script as it creates it. I have no idea what's coming, but I can see it's getting a little more avant-garde in what it thinks is avant-garde. It's almost as if you had a 5-year-old child with a PhD. That's what it feels like when I create these, or when I communicate with the AI. While I'm waiting for that to come up, I'm going to see if I can work on one of my other projects that's been crashing. Oh, here we go. One of 13. I guess we're only going to get 13. Well, I could see somebody doing something with that one. It does have the ability to um, do more. I'm telling it that I think it's holding back on me. I think it forgot that it can stroke fonts. Once it knows that it can stroke fonts, it can do some pretty amazing stuff with that. It goes right. I've been holding back. Let me create signs with proper strokes, shadows, 3D effects, and glows, like a real sign designer. Well, this is interesting. No clue here what it's about to do, but it's about to do it. I'm reminding it to save each configuration between displays. It's the AI hasn't been saving the. It can do this programmatically. It hasn't been saving the configuration between displays. There it goes. So on the next art show, it's going to save each of these displays as a separate configuration. If you look on the left hand side, you'll notice that we have the ability to um, save different configurations. So I can open this configuration. This is an old configuration that was having some problems. While we're waiting, I'll delete these, create some art text. So it's having problems with automatically going into italics, and I've been working with it to try to get it to stop doing that, but it won't stop doing that. So yeah, you can do all kinds of things with it that you would expect in any particular editor. Oh, here we go. Now the AI is controlling this. show 30 signs suitable for CNC within this genre. I literally gave it instructions to show 30 signs suitable for CNC within this genre. And so it's going to create a new art show, a new art script, and it'll produce the signs for me. Uh-oh. I think it called one of them Craftsman Workshop. This will be interesting. Carved Tavern. Oh boy. Again, no idea what's happening here, folks. I feel like a kid with a new toy. Or it could be the shawarma that I just ate with Mountain Dew. I'm just jacked up. Oh, I see the incense burner is burned out, so let's get some more incense started. When I'm doing programming and artwork, I prefer to have incense burning. It helps keep me calm while I'm coding. This is a lot for me, but I'm going to burn 5 sticks. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to see this video by the end of the week. And I hope it inspires you to go out and create your thing. Don't fall for the charlatans. Learn how to code. Whatever discipline you're in. I don't care if you're a speech therapist, a lawyer, a doctor, a dude who works on engines. I don't care what you do, man. You could be a gardener. Learn how to work with AI. It's the thing now. And if you learn how to program, if you learn how to write software, you can understand what the AI is doing. Because the way the AIs work these days is through words. And the tools that are created by the AI are written in some kind of programming language. And so you should actually learn a programming language so that you can work with the AI and understand what it's doing. I'm going to stop the AI, redo that last art show to stroke fonts. I am not seeing them. Every word that is on display must have stroked fonts so they do not look ubiquitous. See, this, what you're seeing here in this art show is very ubiquitous. This is like something somebody would create in Word. There's no variation. I need to see artistic variation and more organics. I am not feeling it. Oh, that was nice. That one was nice. Let's see if it's saving the configurations. Nope, it's not saving the configurations. So the technique for saving configurations is broken. I'll have to fix that. It's got the right idea. It's just not implementing them correctly. I think somebody could do something with that one. But see, it's still too plain. The original idea for all this was to allow myself a customization workflow. But this is the first time that I've been working with the customization workflow through automation. What will eventually happen is I'll create myself a library of backgrounds. And having a practical art background, you don't know this about me, but I was not an artist, but I have dabbled. And you don't know it, but you've actually, if you're in Oklahoma City, you've seen some of my art up on billboards. To this day, you're seeing some of my art on billboards, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I created a technique about 20, 25 years ago that was intended for affecting psychology. And what happened was the sign company stole my idea, and they have been using that specific psychology on their signs ever since. It's silly, I know, but you know, when you're the first at something, somebody's inevitably going to steal your ideas from you. Um, I have dabbled in a little bit of art, not too much. Probably maybe first year out of college student level stuff. Nothing major, just enough to get some knowledge on it. For those of you who enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, there was a time when I was able to. I had figured out how to make artwork that rivaled what you see inside campaigns. Um, this is back before people were doing that kind of thing. Long before AI. It's just I had learned how to use the art tools that were available to me, and I was able to create very realistic campaigns, exactly the same style and artwork and color and detail that you would expect in any campaign manual when you open them up. But I had an idea I was working on with a buddy at the time, and his heart just wasn't in it. And because his heart wasn't in it, I was done. I mean, we had a very unique idea that nobody was doing that was desperately needed in today's time. But I let that one go. Wow, interesting what it's doing. It's a little too complicated, but I noticed on that coffee shop one, it got the colors about right. I see that it's trying to create some effects. And I've got the window open elsewhere, and I see autosave is not, yeah, autosave's not working. We'll figure it out. Now I'll open up the Orbit Lab. I'm gonna set that off to the side and see how Orbit Lab's doing. Okay, let me move this over. It's writing new artwork. I'm watching. It's creating some what it thinks are organic signs. So I'm gonna move this way over here so you can watch it work. Let's bring in the Orbit Lab. So this is what I've been working on. This is probably one of the most intuitive image displays that I've worked with in quite a while. most of these are images I created. Let me go through this. I start with a seed, and then I work with that seed. Yeah, I created all the images that you see here. I'm gonna work with a picture of my dog. This is my dog that died. This is Arthur. We're gonna take him into the, oh, what did I call this? I'm really tired. I've been up a long time. This is the Relief Studio. And it's going to take a while for the Relief Studio to process this. And right now we're having a math issue with the Relief Studio. Those of you who are in the know will see this and you'll know that I'm using the right techniques to try to do this. It's just I'm trying to automate it. And some of you who are mathematicians will know straight away what techniques are being used mathematically. I'm rather new to that. But I can tell you that the application is currently doing some very odd mirroring inside the when it's creating the structural masks, and I think it's actually happening in the data before it hits the structural masks. So I got to figure out where it's doing that and fix it, because right now it's really messing things up. And while that's processing over, you're supposed to actually see some more artwork in that while it's processing the workflow. The reason why it's taking a while is because this is not going back to some AI somewhere. This is actually doing the mathematic computations right here on this computer. So yeah, this is the first time I'm showing anything. Yeah, see that right there? It's on the masks themselves. Um, it is doing a very odd mirroring. I gotta fix that. It's doing. It looks like it's doing it on the left side, mirroring the left side. And this bottom left-hand corner is supposed to be the final height map that we can take into the STL studio. So let's go ahead and go in. I mean, into the STL lab. So let's go into the STL orbit lab. Here's my little buddy. I loaded him up from a source image. This is not from the. This is not from the studio you were just in. This is a. This is, clearly not a CNC ready image. Let me see if I have one that is CNC ready. For example, let's take that skyline that we captured. Over there in downloads. So this is a silhouette of the New York City skyline. This should be a height map. We'll see. And what's happening is the math on the laptop here, the math on the computer is running a series of computations to convert this into an STL. STL is a special kind of file. I needed to uncheck auto perfect, and I need to uncheck round deep reliefs. I'm trying to implement several features. They're not exactly minimum viable product features. Oh, that's beautiful. I don't know what that rectangle is here in the middle here. There's an artifact there, and I don't know where that came from. Could be in the original image. That's gorgeous. This is supposed to have the ability for me to set block sizes. Let's see what block we're on right now. Red oak. Let's set the size. Let's set it to a 1x4. I don't have the ability right now to rotate these or to rotate the block. I'll have to set that later. But let's go to, say, 1/2 inch MDF. See if I can scale that. Scaling's broken. This is supposed to have the ability to let me scale it, but that's broken. We'll go ahead and change dimensions a little. I don't have textures in here. What I have is a color approximation. Notice that when you're off the, when your relief is outside of the block, it goes red to let you know that you're outside the block. That's not going to work. And so you would set your block to be the size of the actual wood that you're working with or whatever material you have. And then you could work with your image. And the idea is to allow you to scale it and move it around and things like that. I did manage to get it to where you could, let's say, it's red because it's outside of the bounds of the image, but of the block. Just bring it within the block. Okay. Now let's play with the relief height. See, now it's outside the bounds. It's actually gone outside the bounds of the block. And I probably need to change up this display so I can see all the sizes together. But I have a block that is 12 millimeters thick, and my relief is only 11. That's a little too deep. But let's change the thickness of our block. We'll make it a lot thicker. Okay. I'm not saying you can get MDF in that size. I'm just saying that I'm changing its thickness here in the picture. You see, you can just barely make out that the relief is really deep. And so eventually the idea will be that I have this style of object in the viewer. Now we need to change to orthogonal top view, see what's going on. I'm going to reset the material. Oh, I see. The thickness of the material got changed. There's some errors in the handles in this image. Originally had designed it so that you could change the dimensions of any one of these things by clicking it, by selecting it, and then moving these handles around, but that seems to not be working. The Cartesian coordinate system is off or wrong. So I grab a hold of this, and I'm supposed to pull it or work with it, and that's what it does. It breaks it, and then I can't get it back. See? So I'm supposed to be able to reset the material. It's not resetting because I've got to go back and fix the code for that. It's still broken. All right, so let's go back into what can we do with this. We'll bring the relief height down a little. Notice that when I change the relief height, the material, the image is actually starting at the top of the material. And I got to fix that too. You never want your model to start at the surface of the material. You just don't want to do that. You want your model to start down below the surface of the material, because the surface of your material is going to have imperfections. We're talking about wood, okay? The outside surface of the wood is going to have imperfections. So I probably ought to come up with some feature to handle that, right? But this isn't about that. That's handled in a different application. That is not handled here. But notice that when I change the relief height, that the floor of the relief actually comes up. That's what it would do in the real world. I mean, that's about as close as I can get to reality. Now, imagine if I had a sign like this, okay? If I had a background like this, and be able to take some of the wonderful fonts that we have been working with and overlay that, right? As separate STLs. So I guess you'll get to watch me fix something. I'm going to try to see if we can. Do we have any configuration saved? We don't. Okay. The configurations aren't saving. Create a sign suitable to let me overlay this background. And I'm going to go ahead and just short circuit a few things here. And I'm going to grab my background image. I've asked it to create some text that would be suitable for overlaying on this silhouette of the New York City skyline. And then we're going to actually live in front of you fix the STL generation problem. And I'm wondering, can I use my apps at this point to export that? Did I build that export capability in there yet? Let me see if I can export STL on my application. Does the STL lab export yet, or is it erroring out? Oh, I need to make that birch go away. Oh, I didn't give myself a context menu for the wooden block yet. And it's stalled creating the STL for the other one, so I gotta wait for it to finish. I don't have a progress bar on there or anything. It's too complicated. No, too complicated. Give me one with upper. Okay, I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna create a new height map. It's still running the script. Yeah, it's still running the script. Okay, close. We're gonna open. It should error out. Open up the text geometry pipeline. Let's see if it's still trying to run the pipeline when I open. Okay, good. We've already got some curved text there. I'm gonna delete that. Okay. New York City. I'll resolve this issue with the pipeline soon enough. And let's change that font. I haven't set these to be realistic in appearance yet, but I have done a little bit of that over here. I need to work out why it's not showing everything. It's showing some fonts. Some of you font nerds probably know what's going on here, but I got to work it out with the software. Probably some kind of a show bill font. But that's not my style. I gotta put some nicer fonts in here. Spencerian script's not gonna work for that. There we go. Let's see if I can stroke the font today. Okay. Let's increase the kerning. So now because I've increased the kerning, I can increase the stroke. Now, we have a couple of ways that we can do the, I'm going to showcase a feature that we have. Depending on how you hold the keyboard, see how it's automatically spacing out the letters? It's changing the kerning. Okay. Let's see if that's working. Now I think control is another one. That allows rotation. I think maybe this feature might be broken. So it's adjusting the space. Let's hold down that button. Do it again. So that is scaling the font. Notice that it's scaling the font size. Here. Notice how it's scaling the font size. Hold down this button. It is not scaling the font size. Rotating. But it doesn't look like it's rotating properly. I think the arc might be broken. Let's take the kerning off. We'll remove the stroke. So we've got some work to do. That's clearly not right. But I can delete that. Start over. Increase the font size. Change the radius. Now, I don't know if you noticed that, but it's scaling the font. So let's bring it all the way down here. And I got to reply to the wife because she's important to me. She's just checking on me. All right. That, notice how it's not scaling the font, but it's increasing the kerning, the space between the font, between the characters. And I think this one rotates. Yeah, that one rotates. stroke the font. Actually, I want to change the font to something else. Now you got to think in terms of this being cut out on wood, okay? Oh yeah, I got 4 privet drive. See if it'll change it. It's not having luck with 4 privet drive regular. Let's try 4 privet drive. There it goes. Some of you might remember that as a font from Harry Potter. So I'm going to increase that thickness. Why would I increase that thickness? Because when that gets cut out in wood, if it were a raised letter, it would leave a shadow, which I love doing that. Okay, we're just going to leave it like that. Now let's see if we can export that. Actually, I want to stretch that out even more. Okay. Let's see if I can export that, if our export geometry is working, and it worked. But notice that it's got a problem. What it did is it exported to the STL file, then reloaded the contents of the STL file back so that you could look at it. And I had given myself the ability to drag that STL around so that I could just compare it to what the actual geometry was, so I could try to make sure that the STL file was aligned properly. Because I had been having problems with making the transition from what you see on screen to the locations of things inside the STL file, which is it's math, but you got to get the math right. And I can see that I need to update the logic that controls how the STL file exports, because I've got new what you see is what you get features, and those aren't tied into the STL pipeline right now. But regardless, let's go back and look at that. I have no idea what's about to happen here. Okay, you're seeing this for the first time with regard to what comes out of the Orbit Lab. What's coming out of the text geometry pipeline, I have messed around with this before in Fusion. So I'm going to go into Fusion. It's on another screen. I'm waiting for it to load. Then I'll bring it over so you can look at it. Fan on my laptop is going just crazy. It's loud up there. Sounds like a little jet engine. All of this waiting is because I'm eating up a lot of resources on my laptop. It's a really old laptop, but I'm too cheap to go get a new one. I'll probably over time put together a machine that can handle what I'm doing now. AI is the primary culprit. Okay, so here we have, we're starting from nothing. All right, insert a mesh, select from my computer, and let's see, I think it's over here in output, or is it here in STL? I gotta find out where it put it. close to right. All right, let's go look for it. There's the configuration before I go anywhere. Oh, I had an out file. All right, let's go there. Go to the text geometry pipeline. We're going to load that one first. SVG file should load fine. Oh, it's because it's not a mesh. All right, hang on. It's an SVG. Sorry, I'd been saying STL. It's the text application outputs SVGs. And you can see that it's got some issues with not exporting any strokes that I add to it. That'll be something that I have to work on. And you can see it's also exporting what I have been using as an origin. That's not desirable, but I can still work with it. And so now that I have this SVG in here, let's do this. Because it's an SVG, I can do things like this. Oh, before we go any further, let's create another layer. So I'm going to create an object. This is a separate sketch. I'll finish that sketch. We're going to give this sketch some depth. We're going to export that. Not export, but we're going to make it about, oh, we'll say 10 millimeters thick. Not much happening there, just a block. A block of what? We'll make it a block of wood. I'm going to move that around a little. I could have done this in a much more organized way, but just being me right now. I'm being a bit of a dummy right now. Don't worry about it. Everybody who knows how to do this stuff knows that I'm kind of goofing around and I'm not doing it right. It's all right. So I'm going to select these. Been a while since I've done this because I've been busy working on the other application. I was hoping to put this on that skyline, but that just didn't work out for us today. That's okay. we can at least show you that the SVG part is getting there. I'm going to cut, not starting from the profile plane, but starting from here. And then we're not going to go any particular distance other than maybe about 5 millimeters. Not 5,000 millimeters, let's go 5 millimeters. I think it's actually going to be a -5. We'll click OK on that. And then we're going to hide our sketches. And you can see that, at least here virtually, we have letters cut into a surface. And if I were to run this through some further processing, I could take this over to the CNC router and actually start cutting it. I think you're starting to see the importance of why I'm developing the tools that I'm developing. Fusion has the ability to, Autodesk Fusion does have what we call an application programming interface. You can program against it. I've never done that before. So I want to set up my pipeline so I can take things into here that have been created and have them go straight through another process if I can figure out how to code that, and then be able to export to files that I can proof, make sure that they're okay the way that I want them to. Let the application take care of all of it for me, and then I can export as needed to the information that the CNC router needs. Currently, the process for doing this kind of thing can take hours of creating things in one program, exporting them as a file, importing them into this program, working with them, adjusting, not liking what I'm seeing, going back and doing it again. And some of the tools that are out there are frankly overly complex. No offense, this is just what we refer to as just feature creep. They get better and better and better, but they get more and more complicated. And I'm a creature that needs to take the absolutely complex and make it easy to use. That's just the way I've always been. And I can go with a minimum viable product as long as it does what I need for it to do, with ability to be flexible. And so you're starting to get an idea of where I'm going with all this. Okay. The question is, do I have any other STLs? Do I have any STLs that I can bring in? You've seen what I can do with an SVG. The SVG had the text, and you already know that my SVG output is missing the stroked font. A stroke is where you paint around the lines of the font letters, so that of the characters, so that you can make it thicker. And that's not exporting. That's okay. I can work on that. That's a technical issue. What's in place is the architecture. That's the hard part. And I got more architectural work to do. Having the ability to standardize how everything operates is a pain. But eventually I'll merge everything into one environment where I can basically decide what I want to do, and then working with the AI to allow the workflow to process all the way over to and include loading up into a project in Autodesk Fusion, from where I can do my quality assurance level proofing and then decide if I want to send it on to the CNC router. This method of customization would allow me to do what I do best, which is consider the art side and not have to focus as much on workflow. And you're going to see this way of thinking a lot more in the year 2026. It's a necessity. Anything we can do to remove the burdens of what we used to do and automate it as much as possible, that's already been going on. You have no idea. The moment you sit in your car, you're experiencing a lot of that. You think that playing music through your dashboard in your car is so easy now. But what you don't know is there's a lot of systems going on that are totally automated that bring that to you. And I've had a chance to look at some of that kind of stuff. and it's absolutely amazing what's been going on. There's been a lot of automation going on for a lot of years, and it's just that AI helps me to do further customizations. But I don't. If I were to sit down and try to do the numbers on that, um, the average person I don't think is going to want to pay for that. I don't think you're going to want to pay for that. If you have a small hobby wood shop someplace, you're asking them to spend more money. That means that their world has now gotten more expensive. And I don't know, if I'm a hobbyist, um, and I haven't got a lot of money, I would have to pay somebody else, and that's money coming out of my pocket. So that means like one less shawarma I can buy that week because I got to make my AI payment for, not my AI payment, make the AI payment for some other company that I'm buying a product from, and in fact paying them a monthly fee for it. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's economically feasible for the average person who's a hobbyist. If you're a professional, on the other hand, hey man, knock yourself out. You're already using AI and all kinds of stuff. If you're a professional, you're already using AI in everything you do, and it's being drilled into you by your industry that you need to use AI. Hobbyist, I think your ability to do things is going to get better, but I think of myself as somewhere between hobbyist and somebody who wants to just do something different for the art of it. And yeah, there we have it. All right, y'all have a wonderful time. And if you've been following me, great. I'll probably delete this video, but it's been fun showing you what's up. Have fun. We'll talk to you later.